In this tutorial, I will show you how you can present your progress photos and include the photos as a part of your model. So for example, here I have few photos for each floor, the progress at each floor. So we will show corresponding photos to each element of our choice as a part of the model. If I will go to floor 2, that's the progress. Again, everything is interactive here. If I will go to floor 3, I can show the corresponding progress photos. So let's get started. So the question is, can we insert an image into Power BI? Yes, we can do that by default. If we head into Insert tab, then Insert an image, we can maybe select any image we want. It's gonna be a separate visualization, and I have also formatting options. I can do whatever I want, add title, format the background, etc. But it is a static. It is linked to a local file on my drive. I wanted to connect my photos with the whole model so it can become interactive, and this is the whole point of the tutorial. To do that, let's first go to the Power Query. Most of our work will be in the Power Query. And I really want to add a column into my model. I hope it makes sense by now. I want to add one column to show the corresponding photos with each element, each activity, whatever we want. So Power BI doesn't read images from queries. They only recognize image URL. Okay, that's the trick here. You can insert an image the way I showed you right now from your local drive, and you're gonna insert it just as a standalone visualization. But if you want to include an image as a part of the model, you have, and it will be a part of the query, you have to insert an image URL. There are few tools you can do that, upload photos online, get the image URL, but I'm gonna show you something more effective. We will first go to right click, new query, blank query. I'm gonna name it to binary to image. And I'm gonna go to advanced editor. You can go from here or right click and go to advanced editor. There is a script, okay? You can go to the downloads section or the text under this lecture, under this video. You can copy the script, paste it the way I'm gonna do right now. So I'm gonna delete everything here and just paste the script. You don't have to really know what's going on here. The only way Power BI recognizes photos is through base 64. Let me show you. So that's one converter. You can convert image to base 64. It's like some sort of extension Power BI can recognize. I was using this tool before, but it is not effective, and there are many issues with that. So that's the purpose here. This is what we are trying to do. We wanna transform the images to something Power BI can recognize and use. You don't have to really know what is base 64 and what it does, just because you are not super programmer, right? You are still planning engineer. You wanna find a way to get the job done. So just follow the steps. Okay, we tell Power BI that you can take the binary information. I will explain it so quickly because there's so much going on here. So I'm gonna tell Power BI, take the local path of the image as a binary information and convert it to an image. So you are really making a virtual URL for Power BI to recognize the photo. Just if you don't really understand it well, that's fine. There is no problem with that. Just to do the steps. Okay, then done. Next step is to upload our photos. So I'm gonna go to new source. I'm gonna go to more. Then I'm gonna choose a folder where my photos are stored right now. Then connect. You choose your folder. It's here on my desktop. Then click OK and click OK. let's see what's going on here. I'm not gonna transform data right now. I'm gonna open the Power Query itself to work a little bit with the data and try to understand it with you here. We want to identify photos in a way that will correspond to our model data. Okay, these are my photos. So I have one activity code called the floors, floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, and I wanna show photos, progress photos for each floor. And I put an identifier, which I already have in my model right now, P1 for podium 1, P2, P3. And if we will go here to the data tables and floor 2, we can see this information, right? I have like 19 floors, so I'm gonna use this identifier. So later on, I will tell Power BI this photo belongs to P01. It's the same concept. If you wanna go to this activity code, for example, for something for aluminum and glazing, show this identifier. Name the photo with this identifier. Zone, for example, okay, if it's one photo, you know, for the whole tower, use this identifier. Something for landscape, use, it's really the same thing. If you wanna have activity-wise, like for each activity, like floor 1, ceiling work, something very specific, you know, we can have in the baseline, like for example, emulsion paint for balconies, ceiling, you know, or you know, any construction activity, like specific activity. So you're gonna name the photo with the activity ID. So you got the point. I don't think it's very effective to use this method for many photos, and because there are few disadvantages. The first one is the one I have just explained. If you're gonna add 50 photos, you're gonna name 50 identifiers. It's quite time consuming, right? And the second disadvantage I'm gonna explain in few minutes. Okay, so that's my identifier, but it has .gpg by default. So I wanna get rid of the .gpg. Right click, split columns by delimiter. So Power BI recognizes that I have only one delimiter here, the period or the dot. So at the dot, would you like to split the columns? Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I click OK. Okay, that's the perfect identifier for me, and I'm gonna delete that. And as you see, everything is stored in the applied steps. So every time I import photos, I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen later on, like for next week and the week after, because it's automated right now. I have used a folder as a query. I can update this folder. The process will go through the applied steps. Then I'm gonna click refresh at the end because everything is automated after that. Okay, so far so good. I have got the identifier. So you can see here that we have the progress photos query that we have just added. But what about the script that converts the local files into an image, the binary, the first one we created? It doesn't show here. We will open again the transform data, and I'm gonna invoke the column. I will go to progress photos, and I wanna add the binary to image as a part of this query, okay, because they can correspond with each other. I will go to add column, so I'm gonna add a new column, invoke custom function. New column name, just leave it custom, function query, binary to image, okay, the one we created here. Binary content, we wanna tell Power BI, grab the data from the content column, okay, the binary. We just want to show photos. Then click OK. Okay, I added here the binary to image, and that's the code we want, the image URL. Then click close and apply. All right, next step is to go to data tables, go to the progress photos, and now we have the binary to image, right? Added as a new column from the script we created. Data category, make it image URL, because this is the only way Power BI can recognize the photos, only from image URL as a part of the model. And if you do not make this step, you will have a broken link. It will return an error. Okay, so image URL. We will go to the report. We also need to make our data clean. So we want to match the photos with the model as we are used to do. We need to find a way to do that. So I'm gonna open the query. And I'm gonna go to progress photos. And here I showed every photo and could match it to an identifier. I matched my photos to the activity code, and as I said, you can match it to any activity code, activity ID, but we need to have some sort of matching, and we do the matching under the photo name. So here I have floor L2 ID. I will name it like that, floor L2 ID. Close and apply. I will go to my model relationships to make the relationship. And I have here my new query with progress photos. And I will grab the floor L2 ID, match it with floor L2 ID. So I have a match here, 1-to-1, that's fine. So right now my photos are connected with the activity codes. You can have multiple activity codes, you can have whatever you want. I will go to report and I'm gonna grab one visualizer. It's called Simple Image. You have to download it from the marketplace. So that's a simple image. And I will grab the progress photos, the binary to image. That's the image URL. And you can see here the photos. And if I will go to floor 2, I can see the status of the progress, floor 3, etc. So it has become a part of the model. Everything we refer, like in any case, on any occasion, I will refer to each floor. I can use these photos as a part of the model. So I think it's very professional to see interactive presentation of the progress photos, but there are two disadvantages. The first one is, as I said before, you have to do matching first. So if you have 50 photos, you have to name 50 photos. It's quite inconvenient for some people, but if it's gonna help you, nothing is wrong with that. The second disadvantage is for this visualizer to work, you must have the size of each photo at least 25 kilobyte. I use the reduceimage.com. It's a free website. I upload my original photos like I have taken from site, and you can select the image. Okay, and the good part for this website is you can try different iterations before you get the final photo you will be happy about. So if I will click resize, it will immediately calculate the new photo size. You can play with the quality because I have already chosen small size, a photo with a small size, but you can have like 1 megabyte, 10 megabyte, and you keep reducing the quality. And so here if I will do 80, okay, image size, you can see the new size immediately, so you don't have to wait for too long. And once you are happy, if it's at least 25 kilobyte, you can download image. Okay, again, if you are working with 50 photos, maybe it's quite inconvenient, but overall I think 10 is fine. You can try, maybe you will become quicker over time when you use this more often. But it looks professional, it looks nice. You can add 10 different photos, and but make sure that the size is at least 25 kilobyte, and you have named the photo according to the appropriate identifier. What about next week? So you will have new photos. What you're gonna do? You can simply go to the folder, delete all photos, have new photos, name them with the appropriate identifier, and then click refresh. That's it. You don't have to do anything else because our query is the folder itself. Okay, and it will go through the applied steps, then you are good to go. So that's the process. And that's it for showing the progress photos, and I hope you found the tutorial helpful.